The capital is paralysed right now, December 2025, not by foreign invaders, not by terrorists, but by the very people who feed this nation. Tractors are blocking Parliament Square as we speak. Westminster is gridlocked on December 16th as the Finance Bill returns to Parliament. Roads are impassable, and this time the farmers aren't backing down. They're making a last stand before Parliament rises for Christmas on December 19th. The scenes throughout 2025 have been unprecedented. Row after row of massive tractors, engines roaring, horns blaring, British flags flying, some adorned with Christmas lights, others driven by farmers dressed as Father Christmas. This is the Great British Tractor Rebellion, and it's reaching a critical climax as the year ends. The numbers tell the story of a revolt that's exploded across 2025. Back in November 2024, thousands of farmers gathered at Parliament Square. Police estimated 10,000 protesters took part, but that was just the beginning. December 11th, 2024, saw hundreds of tractors block Whitehall under the banner RIP British Farming. Then came 2025. February 10th brought over 1,000 tractors rolling into Whitehall for a mass rally. November 26th, Budget Day 2025. Dozens of tractors descended despite a metropolitan police ban. December 10th brought 20 tractors adorned with Christmas lights. And now, December 16th, 2025, farmers are back at Parliament Square as the Finance Bill containing the family farm tax comes before MPs for its second reading. This isn't a one-off demonstration. This is a sustained, coordinated national uprising that's been building for over 14 months straight. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built British Front Media to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe to our channel, because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. Reason number 1, the inheritance tax is just months away, and farmers are running out of time. The spark that lit this inferno came in October 2024, when Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced her budget. Farms valued at over £1 million would face a 20% inheritance tax starting in April 2026. That's just 4 months away. Previously, since 1992, passing down farms through generations had been completely tax-free. Labour scrapped it. Farmers call it the tractor tax, the family farm tax, the death sentence for British agriculture. And right now, in December 2025, the Finance Bill number 2 contains the legislation to make this nightmare real. Parliament rises for Christmas on December 19th. The window to influence the bill before detailed scrutiny begins in the new year is rapidly narrowing. That's why farmers are in Westminster today. Government figures admit the measure would affect approximately 27% of farms in the UK, roughly 56,700 farms. The Country Land and Business Association estimates that 35% of farms, approximately 70,000 farms, would be impacted. Tens of thousands of family farms face ruin in just 4 months. Tom Bradshaw, president of the National Farmers Union, has led the charge throughout 2025. He's repeatedly characterized the tax as having disastrous human impacts. He's warned of inevitable continued protests. And farmers have delivered. They haven't gone quiet. They've gotten louder every single month. Average farm incomes range from £17,000 for livestock grazing to £143,000 for specialised poultry, asset-rich, cash-poor. When you inherit a £2 million farm in April 2026, you'll owe £200,000 in inheritance tax. Where does a farmer earning £17,000 find £200,000 in 4 months? They sell land. The farm becomes unviable. 5 centuries of heritage sold to pay Starmer's tax bill. Reason number 2. The government's authoritarian crackdown on protests has radicalized an entire community. Here's where 2025 got really ugly. As farmers ramped up protests throughout the year, the government tried to shut them down. On November 26, 2025, Budget Day, the Metropolitan Police imposed conditions preventing protesters from bringing tractors or agricultural vehicles to demonstrations in Westminster. The decision came from someone very high up, leaving organisers stunned. Farmers who'd already set off for London were told at the last minute their protest was cancelled. The Met warned anyone breaching conditions would be arrested under the Public Order Act. And they followed through. Several farmers were arrested for driving tractors into central London despite the ban. Videos posted to TikTok and Instagram showed tractors being blocked and removed by police as crowds chanted in support of farming families. One demonstrator, Alan Vibe, shouted on video, "You cannot treat our farmers like this in Britain." Another farmer was arrested while trying to comply with police requests to move his tractor. When he went to remove the key from his machine, they handcuffed him for obstructing the highway. A farmer dressed as Father Christmas had his tractor parked in Whitehall, with a sign reading Farmer Christmas, The Naughty List, Keir Starmer, Rachel Reeves, David Lammy, Diane Abbott, Angela Rayner and the BBC. Metropolitan police officers intervened and the tractor was seized. Reform leader Nigel Farage offered legal support to every farmer protesting peacefully. The planned farmers' protest on Whitehall has been cancelled by the police at the last moment. They have come to London and are now being arrested. This is outrageous. Reform UK will provide legal support to every farmer protesting peacefully today. Farmers accused police of two-tier policing. Clive Bailey of the Farming Forum, organiser of the first tractor protest in November 2024, said it does feel like two-tier policing. The feedback from the Met about our protest was that we were a pleasure to work with. The organisers of this protest were assured it could go ahead, then were told at 2:30 p.m. yesterday that it couldn't. Shadow Environment Secretary Victoria Atkins MP added, "Farmers deserve answers. The police have changed their minds with less than 24 hours to go. It doesn't smell right, particularly when we think of the regular and frequent protests that are allowed in SW1. Was this to save the Chancellor embarrassment ahead of her budget of broken promises? The Metropolitan Police insisted blocking tractors was necessary to prevent traffic gridlock and disruption. But footage of tractors being towed around Trafalgar Square sparked outrage online. Hashtags like Stand With Farmers went viral. TikTok videos showed crowds shouting "Shame on you" while tractors honked in defiance. A GoFundMe page to finance the return of seized tractors was launched with a target of £2,000 but quickly reached £16,156 from 808 donations before being paused. The crackdown backfired spectacularly. It radicalised farmers who'd never considered themselves political. Reason number 3, farmers are defying the ban, and the government can't stop them. Here's the beautiful part. Despite arrests, despite seized tractors, despite police bans, farmers kept coming back. On December 10, 2025, around 20 tractors decorated with Christmas lights drove through London. Farmers from Lincolnshire, Leicestershire, Northamptonshire, Oxfordshire, Bedfordshire, and Buckinghamshire organised a joint effort. Will Finn Kelsey, one of the organisers, explained they wanted to give something back to the public for their phenomenal support throughout the protests. But there was another message. We wanted to give a message to the government. You can't ban us from coming into London. We will come into London as and when we want to. We want the government to know that farmers are still here. We're not going away. We will continue to fight you over IHT. The run fundraised for Helping Homeless Veterans UK charity. Finn Kelsey said, having been into London several times during the farming protests, we've noticed an unacceptable level of homelessness on the streets. We wanted to try and do something to help. This is genius. Farmers turned their protests into charity events that the public could rally behind. It made police crackdowns look even more heavy-handed. The Metropolitan Police were described as fantastic at the December 10th tractor run, after being slightly heavy-handed at the Budget Day demonstrations on November 26. Shadow DEFRA Secretary Victoria Atkins wrote to the Metropolitan Police Commissioner expressing serious concerns about how the Budget Day farming protests were managed. Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley responded on December 9th, stating that previous large tractor-based farmer protests in central London had shown the movements of vehicles were particularly disruptive to moving traffic. We therefore concluded that tractors on Whitehall could cause serious disruption to emergency services, transport infrastructure and local hospitals. But farmers aren't buying it. Protesters carried banners accusing ministers of breaking the trust of every farmer in the nation. Scottish farmer William Murray said bluntly, "You broke the trust of every farmer in the nation with inheritance tax. It has broken us." And now, on December 16, 2025, farmers are protesting at Parliament Square against the Finance Bill. Number 2, which proposes changes to inheritance tax and agricultural reliefs. They're aiming to pressure the government and MPs before Parliament rises for Christmas in 3 days. Reason number 4, the Tenant Farmers Association warns of catastrophic unintended consequences. It's not just family farm owners facing disaster. The Tenant Farmers Association continues to warn that the proposals could have serious unintended consequences for the tenanted sector, which accounts for around 30% of farmland in England and Wales. They fear landlords may respond by shortening leases, withdrawing land from the rental market, or cutting investment. Although the government confirmed the new £1 million threshold will be transferable between spouses and civil partners, farming groups argue this doesn't go far enough. Think about the cascade effect. Landlords who own agricultural land worth over £1 million now face inheritance tax bills. Their rational response? Sell the land or convert it to non-agricultural use to avoid the tax. Tenant farmers who've worked that land for generations suddenly lose their leases. They have no farm to pass down, no business to sustain, no future. One farmer who plans to attend the December 16th rally told Farmers Weekly that visibility at this stage was crucial. With Parliament rising for Christmas on December 19th, the window to influence the bill before detailed scrutiny begins in the new year is rapidly narrowing. This is it, the last chance, 4 months until April 2026, when this tax takes effect. 3 days until Parliament breaks for Christmas, farmers are making their final stand before the year ends. The Finance Bill's second reading focuses on overall principles rather than detail. MPs cannot amend the bill's text at second reading. They vote on whether it should proceed to the next stage. Detailed scrutiny comes later during committee and report stages. But if the bill passes second reading, it's essentially locked in. That's why farmers are in Parliament Square today. Reason number 5. This mirrors a European-wide revolt that's toppling governments. The UK farmer protests throughout 2024 and 2025 aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a continental uprising. Farmers across Europe have protested against green agenda policies, bureaucratic rules, and unfair competition from cheap imports. France has seen massive tractor protests that snarled Paris. Spain's capital, Madrid, was shocked when farmers rode hundreds of tractors into the city's heart. The Netherlands saw the Dutch government attempt to forcibly buy out farmers. In every case, the pattern is identical. Governments pursue net zero policies and globalist trade deals. Farmers get squeezed between environmental regulations, cheap imports, and rising costs. When they protest, politicians dismiss them. The fury builds, tractors roll into capital cities, and governments either back down or face electoral annihilation. The message is clear everywhere. Peaceful lobbying achieves nothing. Tractors blocking Westminster get results. British farmers learned this lesson throughout 2025. They've protested at least 6 major times since November 2024. November 19th, 2024. December 11th, 2024. February 10th, 2025. November 26th, 2025. December 10th, 2025. December 16th, 2025. Each time, the government has refused to budge, but each time, more farmers join, more tractors appear, more fury builds. And as April 2026 approaches, expect the protests to reach fever pitch. Reason number 6, the final countdown to April 2026 is happening now. So here's where we stand on December 16th, 2025. The Great British Tractor Rebellion has been raging for 14 months. Thousands of farmers have protested repeatedly. Police have arrested protesters, seized tractors, and banned demonstrations. The government refuses to back down. Farmers refuse to give up, and the stakes couldn't be higher because April 2026 is 4 months away. If this finance bill passes, 70,000 farms could face the tax according to the Country Land and Business Association. The government admits 500 farms per year will be affected. Over a decade, that's 5,000 family farms destroyed, sold off, broken up, turned into housing developments, or bought by corporations who can afford the tax bill. The human cost is incalculable and imminent. Families who've worked the same land for centuries will lose everything starting in April. Villages built around agricultural communities will hollow out. Rural culture will be dealt a death blow. Food security will plummet as Britain becomes even more dependent on imports. And for what? To raise funds that will be negligible compared to the economic and social destruction caused. This is class warfare against rural Britain. Urban politicians who've never set foot on a farm dictating to people who've spent their entire lives working the land. Protesters' signs throughout 2024 and 2025 tell the story. No farmers, no food, no future. R.I.P. British farming. Starmer the farmer. Harmer. Stop the death of British farming. These aren't slogans. These are warnings that have been issued for 14 months straight. The atmosphere at protests has been described as friendly, with families and children attending. But the anger is real and boiling over. Scottish farmer William Murray said it perfectly. You broke the trust of every farmer in the nation with inheritance tax. It has broken us. Shadow Farming Minister Robbie Moore stated at the November 26th protest, there is a huge amount of anger, frustration, anxiety amongst our farming community, quite rightly because of the family farm tax, the family business tax that is going to be implemented. Scottish Conservative MP Harriet Cross said, this is yet another dark day for the farming industry, who are being put through hell by this Labour government. The Chancellor's decision not to axe this tax will change the future of family farming forever, not for the better but for worse. The industry is contending with one of its toughest periods in living memory, and next April will make survival even harder. So the question comes to you right now, December 2025, as farmers block Parliament Square while you read this. When you see tractors that have been storming London for 14 months straight, when you hear farmers warning of catastrophe in just 4 months, when you learn that 70,000 family farms could be destroyed starting April 2026, when fifth-generation farmers say they'll be forced to sell land their families have worked for 500 years, what do you see? Do you see a fair tax on the wealthy? Or do you see the systematic destruction of British agriculture? Do you see a government raising necessary revenue? Or do you see urban elites waging war on rural communities? Do you see 500 farms affected? Or do you see 70,000 families facing ruin in 120 days? The tractors are in Parliament Square today. The capital has been paralysed repeatedly throughout 2025. Roads have turned impassable time and time again. And this is the final push before Christmas, before the New Year, before April 2026, when everything changes forever. Farmers have promised they won't stop. They've been arrested, had tractors seized, been banned from protesting, and they keep coming back. Starmer and Reeves say there will be no U-turn. Farmers say they won't give up until there is 3 days until Parliament breaks for Christmas, 4 months until the tax takes effect. Something has to give. Either the government backs down in the next 72 hours, or farmers escalate in 2026, and Britain discovers what happens when the people who feed the nation have nothing left to lose. The Great British Tractor Rebellion isn't a protest, it's a countdown to catastrophe, and the clock is ticking down to zero.